right. Hey, good afternoon, Joe Marshall. I'm very pleased to have you on the show. Welcome. How you
Thank you
doing?
for having me. Looking forward to this. We've been rescheduling and rescheduling, and now here we are.
Yeah. Well, we got Thanksgiving in the
Yeah,
middle. We got to work through the logistics. So, but I appreciate you taking the time to be here. Thanks so much,
always happy to do it, my
Joe.
friend.
Joe, you are a technical leader with Cisco TALOS organization, and our customers love TALOS for the fact that their solutions get protected because we are feeding threat intelligence from TALOS into the solutions that they have. But I think my understanding is the mission for TALOS is much bigger than that, right? The scope is much bigger. It's making the internet a safer place. Would you explain a little bit more on what we do in the back end to make it happen, reality?
Sure. Well, I mean, like so Talos is maybe a noun that some people aren't familiar with.
Yeah.
We are we're the threat intelligence engine behind all of the Cisco security portfolio. There's now over 400 of us. We're on 5 different continents. We speak 30 plus languages amongst all of us. We're all threat researchers of some variety or category. And it's our job to find and hunt the bad guys wherever they happen to be globally, and then make sure that our customers and our communities are protected. The In the back end way, there's just so much that goes on organizationally, from linguists who natively speak languages that you might see on the dark web, to malware analysts who can take apart malicious code and see what adversaries are doing to iterate and do evasion, uh, to even data science. Well, we have 80 million endpoints we're able to ingest our data from. And frankly, we need data scientists who are able to make sense out of chaos. And that I, as a threat researcher, when I look at it, my eyeballs don't explode and I can make sense of the data that we're seeing. And then maybe we can pick up some new tactics or techniques that we're seeing adversaries do. But ultimately, it's all in the service of making sure our customers are protected.
That's great. You mentioned, I think one of the points that I picked up was it's not just machine learning or AI, it's like people doing the research, doing deconstruction of malware. I mean, there's a people factor involved heavily into what we do from the Cisco Talos world, correct?
Absolutely correct. We have to. So to be fair, there's a lot of ML and AI going into that as well.
Mhm.
We have to. This is, we're talking 6 petabytes plus data a day. There's just not enough human eyes to cover all of that. But what is important is that we're really panning for gold. We're looking for that 0.1% of
Mhm.
of badness that we think is interesting for a variety of reasons. Maybe it's a new and clever evasion technique we just haven't seen before, or maybe this is an interesting campaign we're seeing in victimology. So we're seeing maybe a nation state target another nation state, or maybe we're seeing a ransomware cartel target a new swath of victims in a vertical like medical or aviation or industrial. So those are all really important data points that we have to stay on top of.
Yeah. Now you had the chance to work with multiple linguists, and did you pick up any language other than English at all?
Oh, absolutely. If you go to our blog, talosintelligence.com, we have attacks that we've registered against the Indian government, against South Korea. Um, so many new ones have come out lately because of our global expansion we've made into those markets, both with researchers. I feel like we're swinging a pretty hot bat, to use an American euphemism there, of really great global threats we've been able to document.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, we appreciate everything you guys do from a Talos perspective. And one other thing I want to ask you is there's a report that came out from IDC that Cisco was named as a leader for the MarketScape report for incident readiness. Do you have any more insights on what we offer from a Talos standpoint, or the reports, or how does it help a customer in their preparedness to security?
Right. So an interesting thing is that Cisco Talos, the 350 of us, we're not fee for service, so my time is not billable. I'm there to hunt bad guys. But of course, with our Cisco Talos incident response, obviously they are. They're a retainer fee for service organization that are mentioned specifically in this report. I'm not honestly surprised that we're in the leader quadrant for that. I get to work with them on a near daily basis. They are some of the smartest, brightest, most hardworking professionals I've ever met. They love what they do. They love helping people. They're very good at what they do. And they offer reactive services. So if you're having a real bad day, you suspect a breach, they're going to come to the rescue. They offer a lot of really great proactive services. So let's say you want to tune up your cybersecurity program. Maybe you are curious as to how do we build a cybersecurity program through playbooks or through exercises. All those things can be had through CTIR. They're very good at it. I've been fortunate to participate in a few of those, and it's always fun. They're great. They're just great.
Yeah. So those are not just reactive, but they are proactive services as well, correct? Like as in those examples you went through. Yeah.
In all cases, you want to be as proactive as possible in cybersecurity. You don't always want to be on the back foot as you both react to threats and start to wonder, oh gosh, something bad has happened to someone else. I don't want it to happen to me. We're going to be there to help you.
Yeah. Talking about something bad happening, I think we're in the holiday season right now, and I've been, on my personal email, right? The spam folder kind of was blown up out of proportion in my personal email, not on my work email because we are protected. Now I think there's a lot of scammers and tricksters trying to spin up fake domains and trying to get your attention to click something and hey, show the customer that hey, there's a PlayStation available, or maybe there's a gift that they're looking for, which is not available due to a supply chain shortage, and they're going to paint a picture that they can get that over to you, but it's actually a scam, it's a trick. Are you guys seeing any of those catching bad guys at the Talos world, or any tips for people?
Yeah, absolutely. So yes and no. Like I have not personally found those emails. However, they're so common, it almost feels like it's just a rote to go through as a threat researcher and go, oh, look, here's a new PlayStation 5 email that's actually going to lead you to a malicious domain, attempt to harvest your credentials or install malware. Very common this time of year.
Okay.
What we really see is that the more important aspect to think about is that adversaries are always iterating their attack techniques. So during COVID, we would see fake emails about if I'm an American or if I'm a multinational company, hey, we're offering the vaccine to our Canadian employees first, which would obviously promote a lot of vigorous email opening and clicking, because why would they be getting the vaccine first? Obviously, it was a false email. It was not meant to do that. It was a way to trigger a phishing attempt to open up a malicious link of some kind. And obviously, in the COVID space that we live in, that's important. That's a really great trigger. It's a great con job for the bad guy to be able to do that, and then be able to get you to sort of open something or do something you really should not do. It's not in the best interest of yourself or your company. And so they're unscrupulous. They're absolutely unscrupulous. They're very smart about how they target. They're very smart about how they leverage their lures, and they're always timely. So they're always going to follow the holidays. They're always going to be able to craft this for maximum efficacy on their part.
Well, I think in other words, you can call them opportunists, right? They know when to strike it. They know the timing.
Yep, they absolutely do. They're very smart about it.
Right. Now, talking about threats, so I was reading a report which said, again in Talos blog, that Cobalt Strike is back in a different format. I think some people know Cobalt Strike as a red teaming tool. Could you kind of step us through a little bit about what this new threat is about?
Sure. So the threat specifically is about domain fronting that we just released on our blog, talosintelligence.com. I reference our blog a lot because we give away all of our research. There's no paywall. There's no marketing wall in front of it. We want you to be protected, the reader. So please go check our blog out. We're going to give you all the technical indicators. We're going to even up level it so that the average reader can understand why this is important and who it's impacting. Just put it in your life. You will grow and you'll be so thankful you read it, because you're going to see so much amazing data there. We just want you to be protected. We're somewhat agnostic if you're a customer or not. Just take this data and do good with it. Cobalt Strike is sort of a tongue-in-cheek thing here inside the InfoSec community, because it is and we actually, again, on our blog, we'll give you screenshots on it. There's a report we published last year called The Art and Science of Detecting Cobalt Strike. I was sort of the chief editor for that document. What adversaries are using is frankly, they're using a cracked version. So Cobalt Strike is a legitimate program used by penetration and red team or purple teams to be able to conduct a penetration test. Unfortunately, there's cracked versions online. Bad actors are able to get access to that. They're able to leverage this tool set, which is very, very good at intrusions. and then lateral movement and reconnaissance, and then even delivering payloads, that they're able to use that. And if you're wondering like what this tool looks like, we actually give you screenshots of it in our report that I just mentioned on cobalt strike detection. It's a GUI, right? So this is not necessarily rocket science that's occurring.
Okay.
All you need is a fundamental security understanding of what you're doing. But Cobalt Strike does make things incredibly, it lowers the barrier to entry, is what I like to think of for adversaries, to be able to do their dirt and attack and deliver, say, something like ransomware to a victim.
Joe, what's a URL that folks can go back and take a look at what you just explained?
Sure.
What's the tabs? Yeah.
So talosintelligence.com /blog. There's actually a little
Yep.
blog link on the top right-hand corner of our website. It has keyword searches. We release all of our vulnerability information, malware information of what we've detected and what's new. Our threat intelligence outreach team is always publishing new and exciting research on adversary tactics and malware that we're getting. Just go check it out. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, perfect. Great. Thank you. I think, part of the solution set for countering attacks and getting ahead of the threats, I think we got to be, having the right solutions with the right level of efficacy, right? Solutions is always part of the strategy. And we're known for that. And, our customers love what Talos provided to our solution set. That's all great. And I think one of the benefits that I'm thinking for customers, especially the state and local, is to get the benefit from the President Biden's infrastructure funding. I believe there's more than $2 billion allocated for cybersecurity. So we got the bad things going. I think we have the good things available there from a funding perspective for ensuring that we have better posture for cybersecurity for customers. So would you think that's a right thought, or any other tips or ideas for customers who are thinking to revamp their posture? Is that a good time to kind of look through that?
Certainly, if that's a pot of money you have access to, there's so many good things at like effective costs that will really enhance your security program. Things like multi-factor authentication. Obviously, we're Cisco and we have Duo. I love Duo. It's fantastic and simple to use and really great to set up. Things like multi-factor authentication really are a strong wall, not a perfect wall. Obviously, you need defense in depth, but for say defeating ransomware or preventing someone from getting access to a critical resource through a VPN or inside of your internal network, something like that can be used to purchase Duo or multi-factor authentication for your enterprise. We see through our incident response arm, a lot of organizations don't have something as what we consider foundational as MFA or multi-factor authentication. Perimeter security, like firewalls or aggressive deep packet inspection logging, like what we have StealthWatch, or honestly, just being able to have a retainer on hand to do proactive response. How do I make sure I'm prepared for my worst day, and or do I have someone in my corner who's going to come rescue me on that worst day? All of these things can probably be obtained with that pot of money. They're not necessarily wallet busters. They're really cost-effective, most value solutions you should be thinking about. And if you don't already have them, but put them in your life. It's worth it.
Yeah. Now, the point that you mentioned about multi-factor authentication is more like a table stakes these days, and I think it's very critical, especially now that we're all in a remote hybrid world. And I think the private lives and the corporate lives are sort of merging. So we want to make sure we got the right people accessing the right resources within the corporate boundaries, right? So actually, it's a very important point.
It's a keen observation. We definitely saw, at least last year for sure, a lot of companies had to pivot to remote, but they were not prepared for it because COVID just came out of the blue and really did a number on a lot of businesses, especially very big ones that are not used to a 100% remote force. Maybe it's half or 30%. And because of that, security postures did slack because the businesses need to stay operational. And much like building the railroad track in front of the train, they were forced to innovate on security. And unfortunately, some just weren't able to do that, and maybe they were victims. So again, most bang for your buck, things like MFA, things like, logging and forensics, a retainer, you can get a long way with that.
Okay, great. All right. Now, a lot of great insights about security. And one thing that you told me before we started this conversation, you picked up banjo during the pandemic. I mean, my question to you is, out of all the instruments, why banjo?
Oh my gosh. Well, you can see it behind me over here on my shoulder. I'm from Alabama, so I feel like it's on brand. You come from like Oh Susanna, you come from Alabama with a banjo on your knee. This was March, April, May of last year, right when COVID had just shut everything down and people were trapped in their houses. And I'd always like, I should learn a musical instrument. Like, what would I learn? And I'm like, buy banjo. Why
Yeah,
not? I
you
was
betcha.
wanting to try one. And I you couldn't get lessons really, so I learned through YouTube and online tutorials on how to both read tablature and how to play the banjo. And now you can see behind me, I own more than one. I actually own four now. And I got to say, it has really been a nice, interesting journey to teach myself a musical instrument over COVID, which arguably is still with us, unfortunately. And to learn a little bit about yourself and kind of go on a journey of self-discovery and then play some
Yeah,
cool bluegrass, right? And learn some really cool
yeah.
tunes that maybe you want to tap your knee to and you think are really, really fun. And I can play for you, but I'm gonna apologize in advance if I screw up because I
Let hear it. Yeah, let's do
am
it.
incredibly amateur. I want everyone on the internet, whoever sees this, who is this schlub with a banjo?
That's
I
right.
I am beginner, right? But
I'm gonna
yeah,
put you
let
on
me
spot. I'm gonna put you on spot.
oh, thank you. Now that that disclaimer is out of the way, I feel much better about myself. Let me reach over here and grab. This is one of my newer banjos. It is a really wonderful gold tone white lady. It's got a wonderful metal tone ring inside of it. I just picked it
Okay.
up.
So
Um,
that one, and to me, that one is more like an open back.
yeah, this is open backs. So the style
Open
of
back.
banjo that I play is called clawhammer,
Yeah.
or frailing. It goes by number, and you don't use finger picks. You use either your middle or your index finger. And I'm gonna just tip my camera down a little bit, if I can possibly do so without ruining things, or I'll just elevate it a little bit. So you strum it. So you go just all downward motions. So all you do. You don't go up, you just go down. And then on
Hmm.
the left hand side, you are going to just fret the notes like so. And one of the cool things about banjo that I love about as it relates to, say, to information security is that you have to have strong fundamentals. So having your strum is important, much like information security. You have to know your basics. You have to know network security. You have to know protocols. You have to know how things like DNS work, right? And then other interesting things you can do are little flourishes. So, for example, you can do a hammer on, you can
Hmm.
do a pull off,
Like guitar. Yep. Hmm.
just like a guitar, right? And you can do, of course, the always fun and ubiquitous slide. Everything just makes it sound fancy and beautiful and melodic. And so when you have your strum, and then you can hit a note and then take your thumb and just do a nice little pluck. And then what you can kind of do is assemble a song out of that. And it's really, really interesting. And I'm trying to get my camera positioned here to where you can kind of see everything that I'm doing. And it's it's a little difficult with the angle here, but we're gonna try something. And this is a somewhat sped up version of a song called Long Journey Home. So again, I haven't warmed up, so I'm a little rusty, but let's try it out.
All right, there we go.
Yep. Nice and long journey home. Then, of course, the ubiquitous Cripple Creek, the Oasis Wonderwall of all banjo songs. I'm not gonna play the whole song, obviously. Nobody
Yeah,
wants to hear
yeah.
me play the entire
Well,
banjo.
awesome. Thank you, Joe. And I want to ask you one thing. And I play guitar a little bit. The chords are, do we have chords on the banjo or not?
Oh, absolutely. Like so, you have like the open G, a C, D minor seven, E, A.
Okay.
You can go up and down the entire scale if you so desire. And a lot of great songs like "This Land Is Your Land" or "Mountain Dew," all just played in open chords. You don't even have to get super duper fancy. So if you wanted to make a little bit of a just doing chords, here's a fun little claw hammer or frailing trick. You just
Yeah, we may not be picking the audio that well. The mic might be a little higher.
No, it's
That
very
was,
difficult to tell.
yeah,
I'm sorry, this
right,
camera
yeah,
is somewhat limited,
yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah.
But you know what? Look, not everyone needed to pick up a COVID hobby. Mine just happened to be playing the banjo. I've really come to enjoy it. Obviously, I have a lot of them behind me. You'll learn a lot about yourself, and you'll learn a lot about how you spend your time, and then maybe you'll just find something you really enjoy. And if not, don't beat yourself up. You made it through COVID. It was a tough time for everybody. It still is a tough time for everybody.
That's definitely a great tip.
Yeah.
All right, Joe, I appreciate your time, and we learned a little bit about security, and we learned a little bit about banjo today. And I want to thank you for your time, and thank you, Talos, and the wider team at Talos for doing everything they're doing to protect our customers and making the internet a much safer place. Thank you so
You
much,
know
Joe.
what? Thank you for having me, and thank you for indulging me and letting me play some banjo online. Hopefully, somewhat competently.
Thank you, Joe. Talk to you.
Cheers.